You'd be in trouble if I left you, wouldn't you, Tom? My husband sneered. What? I stammered. You'd lose your means of livelihood if we got divorced, right? You parasite. He taunted, flaunting the divorce documents as he always did to threaten me. He thought I can't live without him. True, as a homemaker, I don't have the financial means to support myself. But that's only for now. Tom looked down at me triumphantly. His confidence, built from manipulating me over the years, was evident on his face, but that would change soon. Just wait and see. I won't let you control me forever. My name is Cindy, 29 years old. I'm a homemaker. I married Tom, the man I adored, 2 years ago. Tom was my mentor at work. Not only was he skilled at his job, but his good looks made him popular, even secretly having a fan club. Though not a member, I admired him too. I never planned to confess my feelings, but one day, he expressed his interest in me. I remember being too shocked to respond properly. He said to me, "You're pretty," and smiled kindly. That led to us dating, and after a year, he proposed to me. We soon greeted both of our parents, bought wedding rings, and booked a wedding venue. While concluding the handover at work, I was engrossed in preparing for the wedding. Tom wanted me to be a homemaker after marriage. I was on cloud 9. I felt like the happiest person in the world on our wedding day, blessed by many. I had hoped to spend my life with Tom, the man I loved. But when did it all change? When did our happy marriage turn into this nightmare? It started with something trivial. About 6 months into our marriage, it was his birthday. As a homemaker with no income, I was using my savings before marriage for my allowance. Feel free to use the leftover living expenses. Tom told me so, but his salary wasn't all that high. The money he gave me for living expenses was not much. After deducting utilities, food expenses and rent, only about $50 was left. It was his birthday. Using the money he gave for his own birthday gift felt wrong, so I used my savings. But with future plans like trips or having kids, I didn't want to spend a lot of money. So, I set a budget of $100 and bought a tie pin he had wanted. I made a homemade cake and dinner, waiting for Tom's return. "I'm home," he said as he walked in. I greeted him with a smile. "Welcome back. Dinner and the cake are ready. Dough. Where did you buy them from?" I proudly told him when he asked indifferently. "They're not bought, I made them myself. It's my first time, so I'm not sure about the taste, dough," I said, a bit embarrassed, showing him the neatly arranged dishes. But Tom just glanced at them without a hint of happiness. I thought he would be pleased, but my expectation was quickly shattered. "What's wrong?" I peeked at him fearfully, and he sighed heavily. "Seriously? This is how you're celebrating my birthday? What do you mean? I prepared the dishes and cake. Ha! You think I'd be happy with this homemade pathetic meal? What? You're trying to mock me, aren't you? For my birthday, I expected a fancy cake from a popular cake shop. Or, you know, a lavish dinner at a fancy restaurant. I'm sorry." I felt my heart race with the completely unexpected response. As if to show off, Tom reached for my gift and tore open the wrapping roughly. "Ha! What's this? A tie pin? Yes, you said you wanted one, right? Though, did I say that? Didn't you? This brand isn't even that expensive. You think it's okay to give me something like this?" He threw the tie pin on the sofa with a mocking expression. He then headed to the bathroom without touching the dishes. From the changing room, I could hear him humming. How could he sing a tune so carelessly after just hurling heartless words at his wife? But more than anger towards Tom, I felt overwhelmed with sadness. I thought he would be happy with the homemade meal and tie pin. I believed he would appreciate any gift and say thank you, but reality was far more cruel. Looking back, there were many signs of discomfort after getting married. If there was dust in the room, he'd say, "Clean properly." He also disliked the meals I cooked, saying, "I don't like the taste." Yet, for half a year, I convinced myself I was lucky to marry the man everyone admired. But it seemed I was wrong. Maybe Tom never loved me. Perhaps I was just convenient as a wife. He wanted someone who would obediently listen to him, and that's why he chose me. That's what I began to think. My suspicions seemed right as I faced his mistreatment daily. If I did anything slightly displeasing, he would say, "You can't even do this simple thing." I'm sorry. Sorry isn't enough, you fool. You want a divorce, huh? Please don't talk about divorce so easily. Huh? After marrying a guy like me, you'd be embarrassed to face anyone if we divorced. After all, I was the most popular guy at work. And you got me. That's not what I mean. I know, if you get divorced as a homemaker, you have nowhere to go. Right now, you're just unemployed. You wanted me to be a homemaker. Who would agree to that? You're the fool for blindly following me. Tom laughed mockingly and threw the already filled out divorce documents at me. He often threatened me like that. He threatened me so many times that I can't even count. I could easily throw the divorce documents away, but I couldn't do that because I wasn't sure if I should continue this marriage. But as Tom said, I was not brave enough to go through with it. I had been doing a work-from-home job with his permission for the past few months, but I didn't earn much, so I didn't save enough to be independent. Am I destined to live as his slave forever? To live in fear of him as a housewife? I found myself somewhat resigned to that reality. But one day, a client I had been contracting with for my work-from-home job offered me a full-time position. I wanted to increase my savings for emergencies. So, I decided to try negotiating with Tom. Tom, I have something I want to talk about. I approached him cautiously when he returned home. But he seemed quite drunk. Shut up, he yelled, stripped off his suit, and collapsed onto the sofa, asleep. I sighed and picked up his discarded suit. Then, his smartphone slipped out of his pocket. Oops, what's this? The screen showed messages from someone named Ruby. The content was too intimate for just an acquaintance. Thanks for today. It was so much fun. I want to visit your apartment too, but your wife would be there. You're going to leave her soon, right? I'll be a good girl and wait. When I saw these messages, I pressed his finger to the phone for fingerprint recognition without waking him. The lock opened, and I went through it. It was filled with evidence of his affair, from messages with Ruby to pictures of their dates. It was unbelievable. He acts all high and mighty with me, but he's cheating on me. I can't forgive this. How dare he treat his wife like this? I transferred everything that looked like solid evidence to my own phone. Once I was done, I woke him up. Wake up, hey, wake up. My shouting made him awake. What? He grumbled. I confronted him mercilessly. Not what? Do you have nothing to say to me? Huh? About what? Don't play dumb. I know that you're cheating on me. Huh? That's what this is about. What? He sat up and pulled out the divorce documents, waving them in front of me as usual. You'd be in trouble if I dumped you, wouldn't you? What? You'd lose your means of livelihood if we got divorced, right? You parasite. He sneered, throwing the documents at me, hitting my face. That was the moment. The moment when the wave of my restrained patience surged like a tsunami. I can't take it anymore. I can't live my life being controlled by this man. After venting his anger on me, he lay back down on the sofa and started snoring. I packed my belongings and left the apartment without looking back. I headed to my parents' house, explained the situation, and decided to stay there for a while. My parents were furious when they learned about Tom's true nature. My father was so angry that he wanted to confront Tom at the apartment, but I stopped him, saying I had a plan. The next day, I signed the divorce documents Tom had given me and submitted them to the office. Once they were accepted, I succinctly summarized the situation and messaged Tom. In the following days, Tom bombarded me with dozens of calls. Dying, be selfish. I won't forgive you. You're just a parasite who can't live without me. The messages were unbearable. Of course, I ignored them all. This was all part of my carefully crafted revenge. I could execute it right now, but not yet. Even without me, Tom would happily live his days with his mistress. In fact, their time together might even be more blissful than with me. But now, I had substantial evidence of his infidelity. When the time was right, I'd take my revenge. I clung to this thought as I started my new life. A year passed. After all, I accepted the job offer from my client, working almost like a full-time employee. After spending the first year at my parents' house, I finally started living on my own. My parents said I could stay forever, but I couldn't rely on them any longer. Besides, my revenge on Tom awaited. Once I became self-sufficient, I would take my revenge. I had decided that a year ago. With the evidence of infidelity transferred to my phone, I visited a highly rated law firm. I explained everything and expressed my desire to claim compensation from Tom and his mistress. Can I still claim compensation now? The lawyer assured me confidently when I asked. Don't worry. In this case, although the divorce is finalized, the infidelity was discovered a year ago, before the divorce. You can claim compensation within 3 years of discovering the affair. Okay, then. Please proceed. Sure, leave it to me. The lawyer immediately started working. He selected the most advantageous evidence I brought and prepared the legal documents. 2 weeks later, Tom called me. Hello. He started talking in a rushed tone, seemingly panicking, when I responded. Hey. What's this about? Oh, you received it. As written there, I demand $20,000 in compensation. What? Are you kidding me? We're already divorced, and now you're asking for compensation for the affair. What are you talking about? I've been waiting for this moment all along. What do you mean by that? I heard from a former colleague that you're quite cozy with that mistress at the office. Especially since our divorce was finalized. You're not hiding it anymore, are you? Yes, I had investigated Tom's behavior at work in preparation for my revenge. His mistress was a new employee at his work. Apparently, Tom had been playing the victim about our divorce and openly flirting with his mistress. With his good outward appearance, most female colleagues must have believed him. But I wasn't going to let him have his way. I decided to take a revenge on him completely. Over the phone, I told him decisively, as if releasing all my pent-up grudges. You think you're on the winning side of life because you have a good reputation and good looks. Too bad. Your successful life ends today. I will make sure to report to the company about your affair with your mistress while we were married. And not to forget how you verbally abused me, causing me so much mental anguish. Wait. If you do that, I'll be. What happens to you is none of my concern. Whether you fall into hell with your mistress or ruin yourself, it's all the same to me. What I can't stand is the thought of you living comfortably after everything. I will make sure you suffer twice as much as I did. I'll ensure someone like you can never live a normal life again. Hey Cindy, wait. I cut him off mid-plea and ended the call. Before he could call back, I blocked him. Then, accompanied by a former colleague who I was close with, I reported Tom's affair to the company. Since I was a former employee, and the mistress was a new hire at the same company, they took my claims seriously. As a result, both Tom and his mistress were dismissed for misconduct. Furthermore, the mistress was furious about being sued for compensation. It's all your fault, she shouted, slapping Tom at the office, and their relationship ended abruptly. Having lost his job, Tom struggled to find a new job and now works multiple part-time jobs. He moved into a small apartment and works tirelessly to pay the compensation. As for me, I continue my work, leading a relatively fulfilling life. Working from home allows me the freedom to work at my own pace, without having to accommodate others. Although my marriage ended in divorce, it taught me a lot. Marriage isn't the only path to happiness. It's important to live a life that I'm content with. I was able to realize that that's the greatest happiness. Remembering this, I want to continue living true to myself.